Hello there guys! For today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a motion blur effect in Photoshop. And also we will dive deeper into duplicating of layers using a quick selection tool, applying motion blur, adding adjustment layers like hue and saturation, and brightness and contrast. So let's get started! So here in our document, I prepare here an image where we're going to apply the motion blur effect. So the first step we're gonna do here is we're going to create multiple duplicated layer of this background layer. So to do that, going on to the layers panel, I'm going to select on the background, I'm going to press Ctrl plus J, and another one, and another one. Okay, now we already have 3 layers of them. Now I'm going to hide the background layer for now. So that's for the before and after later on. Okay, now here on the middle, now I'm going to create here so in the layer here, I'm going to create a selection on the city. Okay, so with that layer selected, I'm going to rename that first to city. With that city layer selected, going to the menu bar, I'm going to make use of the quick selection tool, right? And then let's create a selection on the city. And I'm also going to include this bodies of water in front. Now, once I already have this selection, I'm going to create a layer mask of it. So going here at the layers panel, just select on this, add layer mask. Okay, so this is how it goes. All right, now the next step we're gonna do here is we're going to hide this layer on top first. Okay, now let's go focus this layer under. Okay, so actually this one will be the sky. So I'm going to set the subject's name to sky. And by the way, if you find this video helpful so far, please consider subscribing to help YouTube algorithm show my videos to other nerds like us. Well, going back with that sky layer selected, I am going to the menu bar, go to filter, and then go to blur, find motion blur. So from the angle, I'm gonna set that to 90 degrees, from the distance to 2000 pixels. Alright, and once set, select OK. Alright, now look at that. I already created an effect, something like that on the sky. Okay, but we're not yet done with that. So I'm going to go to the zoom tool, press Z for that, and I'm going to decrease the size, something like this. And with that sky layer selected, I'm going to bring out the transformation command by pressing Ctrl plus T. Alright, it's already out. And then I'm going to hold Shift. While holding Shift, I'm going to click and drag this point on top to stretch this one out to something like this. Alright, I'm good with this. Now I'm going to hit enter. Okay, now the next step we're going to do here is we're going to bring this layer on top back. Now let's rename this one as let's say water. Alright, now we set that one as water because we're going to create a selection only on this part. Right, so with that water layer selected, I'm going to make use of the quick selection tool, press W for the shortcut key, and let's create a selection only to this part. Alright, okay, now I'm going to create a mask of it. Click on this. Alright, there are. So with that water layer selected, I'm going to the filter. On the menu bar, go to blur, and then choose motion blur. So I'm also going to set the angle to 90 degrees, the distance to 2000 pixels, and then hit OK. Alright, so just like what we did a while ago onto the sky layer, so I'm going to decrease the size, selected on that water layer, press Ctrl plus T for the transformation command, and press Shift and hold it, and then let's stretch this one out to something like this. Alright, and then hit enter. Okay, looking good, isn't it? Okay, so the next step we're going to do here is we're going to add a contrast and hue saturation on that sky layer. So going onto the sky layer, I'm going to go to the adjustment layer icon. Yes, here, down here. Just click on this half filled circle and then choose on hue and saturation. Okay, and then for the saturation, I'm going to increase that, okay, to give that kind of effect to 33. Yes, that's okay. From the hue, I'm also going to adjust that to create a yellowish color. So I just add to 14. Yes, this one is okay. All right, and then I'm also with that sky layer selected. Go into the adjustment layer icon. I'm going to choose brightness and contrast. Okay, so for the brightness, I'm going to add just a bit, just to 30. From the contrast as well, I'm going to increase that to around 50. All right, this one is looking good for me. Okay, and then from the water, select on that water layer selected also, and then I'm going to create a clipping mask. Right click on it and choose create clipping mask. Okay, now we can already make the adjustments here. So I'm going to adjust the hue and saturation as well to around this one, 14. And for the saturation, add a bit. All right, 35 is fine. Okay, we're good with this. And lastly, selected on that water layer selected, go to the adjustment layer once again, choose on the brightness and contrast. Okay, so let's decrease the brightness of it to around 30%. For the contrast, let's make it higher to around 60. It's fine. Okay, now I'm good with this. Alright, so that's how it goes. Now let me show you the before and after. So this one is the before, and this one is the after. And that is how to create a motion blur effect in Photoshop.